On this edition of Around BCC, it's back to work at all campuses of Bristol Community College. We talk with President John Sprague. There is some exciting news coming from many of BCC's satellite locations, and our alum takes her culinary art skills to the corporate world. Welcome to Around BCC. I'm Keith Tebow. We are pleased to be beginning our 13th season of providing you the news on the people, events, and academic programs of your community college, Bristol Community College. And as a tradition dictates here on the show, as we begin a new academic year and a new season of Around BCC, we like to start out our new year by talking with the president of Bristol Community College, Dr. John Sprague. President Sprague, thank you for joining us. And as we say every year, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Keith. Yes, September is a great time in the life of the academic year. And we're sharing 13 years here at the college.
Does it seem 13?
I know.
Lucky 13, hopefully.
Well, it's gone by very quickly, and some exciting things keep happening at the college to keep us going.
I want to talk a little bit before we start about what's to look ahead for this academic year. So much happened last year since we talked a year ago. There were some celebrations, New Bedford celebrating their 10th anniversary in the Star Store. Fantastic event that was held last fall. The growth of eHealth. What were some of the things that you took out of last year as success stories for BCC?
Well, one of the most important is the successful completion of our strategic plan.
Right.
This was more than a year process, putting it together, compiling it, listening groups in the community as well as across the college. We had a couple of expert consultants come and work with us, a dedicated strategic planning committee. So we're very excited about the outcome, and now we're about to implement it. So that's where the real test is. Will it work? And so I'm very excited about the strategic plan. And then we began work last year. The second biggest topic, I think, for this year coming is we began last year with the NEASC accreditation, the New England Association of Schools and Colleges. Their accreditation process, every 10 years they have a visiting team come to the college, and the team will look at everything that we do.
And that will actually take place in next academic year in terms of when the visits happen.
The visit will be in March of 14,
right,
which is probably just around the corner from their point of view. But what will happen this year is that we must complete the institutional self-study.
Right.
So by June, we'll have that completed and pretty well completed. A little draft tweaking in the next fall, but this year is that's the main project for NEASC, and which is such an important project for the college, the life of the institution.
Now you talk a lot about, you know, BCC's core services, teaching and learning, but it's this other piece, the planning, making sure we're meeting mission, making sure that we are valuable in the eyes of some of these accreditors. That takes some time and takes some effort, and I think BCC has always been good at having everyone come together to work on these projects.
Yes.
And that's important.
Well, it's a major undertaking. There are 11 separate standards or chapters that they call them in the accreditation report that are required. And so we have a committee for each one of those standards from NEASC, and we have a steering committee as well. Phyllis Wentworth, Professor Phyllis Wentworth is in charge of this project, and it's just an enormous undertaking for the college, but well worth the effort.
One of the other big stories that progressed through the year last year, and we talked to you about it on the show, is Governor Patrick had a proposal last year to change how community colleges are made up or how they service the community. You were outspoken, some other community college presidents were outspoken. The measure never made it through the course of events, but the governor, I guess, had good intentions, and he was looking at ways to make the system better. You may not have agreed with him, but that's part of the process. Mm-hmm. You talk together and try to make what community college are in Massachusetts better.
Absolutely, and that's the goal. We shared the goal.
Right.
There was never any question about that. From his perspective, he is very interested in jobs and economic development, and we share that. So it was a matter of trying to get there. And we have 15 community colleges across the state, so some are in other places, and some are, other progress, and some are doing it and some aren't. So I can see his frustration. He has gone out of his way. In fact, just recently visited this area and was quoted in the paper as praising Bristol Community College. So he's gone out of his way to say that Bristol Community College is a model for the rest of the state, and I'm grateful for that. And we, apart from being a Democrat or Republican, we love this governor and his administration. They're pro-education, and we want to help them every way possible.
Let's move on now. Let's move on to 2012, 2013.
Yes.
One of the big events, and it's related to economic development and job development, is the movement of our center here, which provides services for current employers and employees to get added skills. Big move from the campus here in Fall River to Duval Street.
Yes.
And talk about that and how that's going to help.
Well, it's very exciting. And by the way, I'll point out that the wheels run slowly sometimes in the bureaucratic process, but this has been in the works long before the governor made his proposal. So it just took time to evolve and come to fruition. But we're very excited about this on Duval Street. We have wonderful developers and owners of the property that have been more than complimentary and supportive for the things that we're doing. We're going to have down there our Center for Workforce and Community Education. So all of the non-credit activities and some credit activities in corporate training, if you will, as well as other workforce activities. We have a green center as part of that, where weatherization training and green activities, for lack of a better term, will take place. Also, another major move in that regard down there is the adult basic education, English for speakers of other languages, and the whole entire GED complex. So it's a major move for the college. One benefit of it too, overall, was that those areas receive much more space now, and they're able to really energize things that they had been wanting to do, but lack of space at this campus in Fall River had held them up. Now, the other serendipity of it is that we have more space for other activities here on the Ellsbury Street campus. Right.
And of course, it's going to be an impetus for the city of Fall River, getting people and traffic down in that waterfront area. And the mayor has been, of course, pushing expansion and developing that waterfront. And to have bodies down there will be a big plus as they expand that building with restaurants and the like. And
just in the very early stages of our work down there, people love it. The students love it. They can go out and walk on the boardwalk during breaks, and it's just a wonderful scene, and I think that we're really contributing to the city's development, as well as the wonderful educational opportunities that have come BCC's way.
All right, looking again forward to this year, we always talk this time of year about how enrollment looks at BCC. It's been fortunate that Bristol Community College has not been impacted as much as other higher educational institutions in terms of students because of financial situations not coming. BCC has pretty much held some growth and has sustained that. How do things look for 2012, 2013?
Well, looking good again. For those 13 years that you and I have been together, I've been able to report enrollment increase every year. I think that we're the only college in the Commonwealth that has uninterrupted growth of enrollment. We're up over 77% now from those days when you and I first took over. So
we're a little more cramped.
We're very
but that's
proud.
Okay.
We're a little more cramped.
It's a good problem to have.
So we're very excited about it. Things are moving well in New Bedford and Attleboro and in Fall River. Another important enrollment piece is the explosion of enrollments in distance learning. The use of technology just accommodates the schedules of our prospective and current students.
And also, let's talk a little bit about Attleboro and New Bedford. We mentioned earlier last year New Bedford celebrating their 10th year in downtown New Bedford. Still looking for expanding space down there to meet their issues, their
Absolutely,
needs?
yes. I have told the mayor and anyone else who will listen that we think we can double the enrollment which is somewhere around 2,000 students now total in New Bedford. And if we could get another building, another campus, in addition to what we have. So things look good in New Bedford. I haven't mentioned the eHealth location on Purchase Street, and that is taking hold. And one very exciting piece of the eHealth news is that the nursing program is expanding to this fall into the eHealth program, and an array of other eHealth certificate programs are available. So things are going well in New Bedford. Attleboro, I can say the same thing. We're out of space. It's just amazing how things have grown there, and we want to pay more attention to obtaining new facilities in Attleboro and New Bedford, as well as Fall River. And I know you have asked me earlier about the new building for this campus on Ellsworth
We had talked
Street.
about it last year, about is a new technology building that plans were in the works. I remember seeing plans last year about how it would look, and I guess we can just get an update on that.
Yes, it was a process that involved the entire college community as we agonized over what should go in and what we couldn't fit everything. And we need a Taj Mahal, I'm afraid. But it worked out very well. Again, the process is statewide and it's slow. A lot of bureaucratic hurdles to leap over. I don't know if leap is the right word as we move forward on this, but the college is doing all it can, and we're on pace as we move through this process.
Leap is a good term. We just finished the Olympics, so
yes,
it's apropos to use the word leap. I want to talk a little bit about new programs. You mentioned some eHealth having nursing and some other certificate programs, but that's not only the new programs that BCC is going to be offering this year. What are some of the others? Yes,
thank you. Well, I don't want to lose track. Now, nursing is not new, but it's new to eHealth.
Right, expanding
and it's a jewel
providing more spots.
It's a jewel of our health array of courses, so we're very proud of that. There are eHealth certificates that have been brand new that are going in there. We're looking for sterile technicians and pharmaceutical technicians, a number of different programs that will be offered there as we try to fill this critical marketplace need. And by the way, this fits with the governor's promotion of workforce development and economic development. But we also have paralegal studies degree program that was approved last June by the Board of Higher Education. That will, I think, complement the new law school that UMass has, and there seems to be a growing market for paralegal specialists. So we're advancing in that regard and addressing that need. Also, we have a Native American Studies certificate that Professor Maureen Soa has been instrumental in arranging. And as we continue to celebrate and honor our diversity, this is going to be quite a jewel for our curriculum offerings. And we have the Multicultural Committee, speaking of diversity, that will move forward with the usual array of events. I mean, they're just extraordinary, given our budget, what they can put together. And finally, with regard to diversity, I wanted to mention the creation of a multicultural student center. We announced it this year, and we're just starting it. The director is Milton Clement, who has long been at the college and our registrar. Now he is very eager. He volunteered to move over to very important tasks.
And I'm glad you brought up the diversity, because it's something that I know you were very interested in when you got here 13 years ago. We have the Martin Luther King Community Breakfast in January. Now the Multicultural Committee. It really is one of the things that can tie everyone together.
That's right.
Their ethnicity, their background, their differences, and their similarities.
Yes. And you put them together, and the perspectives that they bring enrich the college. They enrich our classroom discussions. They enrich our social interactions across the college. They enrich the community. So it's, I mean, it's just a wonderful thing that I'm very proud of.
Another thing that you've been proud of is making BCC more green, more sustainable.
Yes.
There was a forum last year that you were involved with in terms of getting a wind turbine
yes.
here at BCC.
Yes, yes.
What's the latest on that?
Yes, again, that's moving forward. The process takes time, but it's not in our control. We have to abide by the process, but we're looking forward to that. It's going to be a dramatic symbol as you see that turbine whirling around on the campus and visible for the community to see that we're putting I always like to say we put our money where our mission is, and here is another example of that. We're going to say that climate activity is important and green activity, then this is a visible example of that.
And also with the other initiatives that the college has taken through the years, it's also important that this be tied into the academic programs, and there's a sustainability courses and issues here at the college that students can take part of, that this will all, again, tie right back into the mission of BCC.
Absolutely. Professor Nancy Lee Wood is the head of our Institute for Post-Carbon and Sustainability Education, and she has done just a wonderful work. She's so deeply committed, and it's infectious as she moves around the campus and the college, keeping these high priorities in our minds.
Well, President Sprague, we appreciate your time. Another academic year before us. Before you know it, another commencement will take place out in the green.
It won't be long.
It won't be long. It happens so fast. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. We'll have more of Around BCC right after this. Welcome back. As we mentioned during our opening segment, there are some exciting new opportunities getting off the ground this fall at BCC's eHealth program in New Bedford. At an open house at BCC's eHealth facility in New Bedford, it was announced that nursing is being added as a degree program this fall. Pat Dent, Dean of Health Sciences, says the eHealth nursing program will feature the same curriculum and faculty as the college's current program, but provides added educational opportunities.
We will be introducing a lot of innovative technology that is going to enrich our entire nursing program with the use of simulation and technology for student instruction. So as I said, it's very, very exciting. We feel that the way this curriculum will be delivered will enhance our students' technology literacy skills for a high-tech clinical environment that they're going to be entering, and that in addition, what's most important is that we will be able to emphasize the critical thinking and the leadership competencies that are so important for the development of the nursing profession.
Also announced at the open house was a new partnership between the college and South Coast Hospitals Group. Sue Calhoun, Director of Organizational Development for South Coast, says the partnership will allow BCC eHealth students to gain essential hands-on training.
Through this partnership, we will offer local students high-quality healthcare programs right here in our own community. The new programs are a direct result, as Karen was stating, of a series of strategic meetings between South Coast and BCC, where we work together to design training opportunities for students that will ultimately fill much-needed positions in the healthcare field.
The eHealth program is continuing to see substantial growth in New Bedford. For more information on what's taking place at eHealth, give the college a call or visit the program online. The New Bedford campus is set for another new year, and so are BCC's other satellites in Attleboro and Taunton. BCC is expanding its offerings and opportunities at its Attleboro and Taunton centers. Dean Rodney Clark says the college continues to refine its offerings in Attleboro to meet the needs of its students. And one of the exciting changes this fall is the introduction of the Weekend College program.
Students can complete a handful of programs just by taking classes Saturdays and Sundays. 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock each of those days. And we're really excited about that because we realize that there are students who maybe during the day and the weekend, maybe that doesn't work for them because of their responsibilities with regard to work and family. So we decided that this weekend college format would really help students to complete their programs faster.
More and more students in the northern part of our service area are taking advantage of the evening offerings of BCC at Taunton. Coordinator Gloria Sadler says what's new this year is the addition of a 4-credit science course that will provide flexibility to many Taunton students.
I have been afforded an opportunity to have the astronomy classes run during the spring 2013 semester out of Taunton. So this is going to make a big difference. We have some students that just require 2 or 3 more classes, with one of them being that 4-credit science. So this is going to make a major impact in the number of graduates that begin to come out of the Taunton Center.
Clark also says that a full-time admissions counselor will soon be on the job to help with enrollment efforts in both Attleboro and Taunton. We've mentioned earlier in the show that BCC's Workforce Development Center has a new home as part of what many hope will be a revitalized Fall River waterfront. Over the summer break, BCC moved its entire Workforce Development Center into a refurbished mill on Duval Street on Fall River's waterfront. The center will be the home to the college's educational offerings for current workers, as well as its non-credit, GED, and ESOL classes. During a ribbon cutting to commemorate the opening, Fall River Mayor Will Flanagan called the new center a perfect example of a public-private partnership.
And what's so special about this project is that we're standing in an area that was once industrial manufacturing, where you had machines going 24 hours a day making industrial materials. Those machines have been replaced with desks and computers and blackboards. It shows an emphasis on education, an emphasis which is being placed by this administration and our city.
Flanagan and other city officials feel that with the dozens of BCC students who will frequent the Workforce Development Center will come the beginning of a rebirth to Fall River's waterfront. Fall means the return to classes and also a return to the pitch for the BCC men's and women's soccer teams. The Bees men's soccer team returns to action following a successful 2011 campaign, which saw the club earn a postseason berth. Head coach Alex Kudo has 5 players returning from last year's squad and is looking for similar success this season.
My goal is to be above 500. I know we're going to do a lot better than that looking at the schedule. We toughened up the schedule this year, knowing that what we had coming back, and Derek knew how I was as a coach. I was not going to bring just any normal kids in here. Expecting to probably lose no more than 3, 4, 5 games. My goal is to make it back to the state tournament and the regional tournament. As last year we were only 2 games away from the national tournament, this year I want to get there.
Hopes are also high for the Lady Bees, who are led by first-year head coach David Barabee. The club has a full team and eyes on a winning season. Check out the BCC website for the complete men's and women's soccer schedule. Time now for the Alumni in Your Community segment, where we profile a woman who used her BCC culinary education to help make food safer for all.
Hi, I'm Jessica Ferreira, and I'm an alumni from 2005. I grew up in Taunton, Massachusetts. As a kid, I liked to cook with my grandmother and my mother. My mom's actually from the Azores, and my dad's actually from the Bahamas, so I grew up with a different cultures, and with my grandmother, you know, just like to help her stir the batter or learn how to make fresh dough for bread, and you know that meant a lot to me because family's close to me, and I want to keep the tradition alive. So food was always something growing up. You know, our whole family would always be together at the table, eating, talking, and that's what means the most to me. So that's where I started my passion for cooking. And then as I went to middle school, I actually got asked, what are we gonna do when I grow up? So I said, Mom, I don't know what I want to be. And she goes, well, what do you like to do? And I said, well, I like cooking with you, and I like cooking with Duval. And she's like, well, then put down a cook. So then I started looking into it, and actually in high school took all cooking classes. And I mean, it's not like the real world, but did very well in those classes. So then I decided I was going to go to BCC and learn culinary. I chose BCC because in high school a lot of other kids would go on to community colleges. I really wanted to go to Johnson Wales first, but I talked with my mom and she said, you know, it'd probably be a good idea if you go to BCC first, learn the basics, and then if you're really good at it, then you can go on to Johnson Wales. So, you know, most kids nowadays, they go to college and spend all this money and then they don't want to do it. So it was a good choice for me. I think it was the smartest decision I ever made. My experience at BCC was awesome. Chef Chrisimo and Chef Cabral were amazing instructors. I was the last class that had both culinary arts and pastry arts all in one, so I learned both. And when I first came here, I was really interested in baking and pastry arts, but I ended up loving culinary arts. And just an amazing experience, met a lot of people. We had a close-knit family, so every time we cooked together, we'd sit down after and talk about, you know, each of the dishes that we created, and, you know, did ice carving here. We did a lot of tableside dinner, so we did flambeing and all that. So you learn every aspect of the culinary field here. After BCC, after I graduated in 2005, I went to Johnson Wales University, and I have a bachelor's in food service management. And BCC prepared me in so many ways. Johnson Wales, they expect you to know everything before you go there, so they expect you to know terminology, knife skills, and it was surprising to me because you go to school to learn how to do something, not expect to already know it. So here I learned all the basics before I went there, so I was really comfortable. And I just started working in a restaurant right after BCC, so just having a little experience in the restaurant and then going there, it was kind of, it was good for me. I was comfortable, I wasn't nervous, where someone who didn't know anything about cooking at all is being thrown into this classroom and expected to know everything. So they prepared me very well here. After I graduated Johnson Wales, I worked for Benjamin's restaurant for a while, and I worked all parts of the back of the house in the kitchen. I've worked for the Long Wharf Marriott in Boston, we're doing banquets, and I've also worked for the Stone Forge in Easton being a sauté chef. And then I've also opened up assistant living home and created all the menus and started the restaurant start to finish. And then I've also worked for Sorelli Foods for a little bit, and I did event planning for them. I actually did a whole, the whole street of Endicott in Boston for the St. Anthony's Feast, and I coordinated all the booths and the food that was going to be served there. And then I actually was looking for a different job because they weren't doing too well. And I looked on the internet and they had a job for Dunkin' Brands for food safety. So I was very involved and passionate about food safety in any of the restaurants or hotels I worked at, and decided, let me just fill out an application and see if I get it. So I sat with a woman and just had a conversation with her, and she gave me the opportunity to become a food safety specialist, so I was really excited. And currently I ensure quality assurance and food safety for all Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin-Robbins restaurants today. And it's just an amazing company to work for. They have a party every day when they have, you know, a new product that comes out, and I get to look at all the new products and equipment and make sure that, you know, they're up to our food safety standards. But the food safety standards is not just for Dunkin' Donuts, or Dunkin' Brands I should say, but for local, state, and federal regulations as well. I would love to open my own restaurant, a food truck, but you're married to the business and you can't really have a life. I mean, I love it, I miss the restaurant, but I like my weekends and holidays off. So, I mean, if you say, where do I see myself in 10 years, it'd probably be, I'd love to teach cooking. Actually be the professor or something like that. Just, I'd love to teach cooking. I eat, breathe, and sleep culinary. I love cookbooks, I love watching the Food Network, and, you know, I think if I could teach someone else how to cook properly, it'd mean a lot to me. I am married to Joshua Ferreira. We live in Taunton still, and it's been an amazing opportunity, you know, just I got married last October, and just happy, glad I'm with him and get to spend the rest of my life with him. And, you know, I have an amazing job, so I can't complain, and BCC did all that for me, so I just really appreciate this college and everything they've done.
That's all for Around BCC for this month. We leave you today with a look at some of the new students entering BCC during orientation held last month. I'm Keith Tebow. Thanks for watching.